separate part for that once those are done, and I'll just combine these together. So I'm going to review Dortmund Atletico, Barca PSG now while it's still fresh in my mind, because they were some absolutely incredible games. I'm sure these two are going to be just as good. So yeah, we've got one side of our semi-final done in terms of Dortmund are facing PSG, and it was an incredible game. I'm going to talk through the games, give my thoughts and opinions on the games. Of course, get in the comments below your thoughts and opinions on all four ties, and yeah, I'd love to hear them, and maybe some early predictions you have for the semi-finals. Now, I wanted to touch my predictions quickly before we do. I actually did predict that Dortmund and PSG would both go through and turn around their ties. I said Dortmund win 2-0, I mean they won 4-2 in the end. I said PSG would beat Barca 2-1 and win on pens. They won 4-1. So the scoreline was wrong, but I was correct in terms of who was going through to the semis. But let's go talk about the actual games then, more in depth. So we'll start with Borussia Dortmund 4, Atletico Madrid 2. Goals from Julian Brandt, Ian Martin, Nicholas Fulkler, Savitzer, Hummels own goal, and Angel Kalea. Yeah, absolutely insane. Both of these were insane. I had to do some sort of split screen, and my eyes were just going here and there, everywhere, because it was so hard to focus on just one game as things were popping off. And this game was, in my opinion, actually the best 6-goal thriller. And in the end, Dortmund overturned their defeat 2-1 in the first leg to go through to the semi-finals of the Champions League for the first time in a very, very long time. And I think it was completely deserved in my opinion. I thought they were the better team in this game by far. They were the more dangerous, they were the ones on the front foot. They were looking really good every time they went forward. As you can see here, 19 shots on goal. They were very, very good going forward, and Atletico Madrid for me were quite poor. The first half was incredible by Dortmund. They ended it 2-0 up. They'd overturned it. A 5-minute blitz. Julian Brandt scored. Ian Martin scored. Ian Martin with a fantastic finish for his goal. I mean, as a Chelsea fan, it makes Chelsea and Poch and the board just look like complete mugs, because this guy is scoring in a Champions League quarter-final, and we had him for half a season and didn't play him, thought he wasn't good enough and sent him out on loan. Anyway, but yeah, fantastic finish by him. Julian Brandt's goal, I mean, All Black maybe could have done better with that, but it was still fantastic work by him, and I thought, in general, Dortmund were fully in control in that first half. They were playing some really nice football. However, I think the turning point in this tie was actually in the first half, because although I said Dortmund started off great, about 13 minutes in or so, Alvaro Morata, well. I mean, just a side note, that kit that Atletico Madrid were playing in was really ugly, by the way. It reminded me kind of a little bit like a Chelsea kit because of the blue. And I think Morata turned back into Chelsea Morata with the blue kit, because he had a one-on-one 13 minutes in and he had to bury it. He had to, and he put it wide. And after that, Dortmund started to get control back of the game again, and if that goes in, Atletico got 1-0 up, they're 2-0 up, or 2 goals up in the tie, and Dortmund, that's a lot to ask for them to come back from that. I think the tie completely changes and the game changes if that goes in, but it didn't. And Dortmund grew into the game and ended up in the first half 2-0 up. So going into the second half, I should also mention as well, Azpilicueta made a fantastic block in that first half early on. I think it was Fulkler, the chance fell to, absolutely mental, and that was a big block. But yeah, second half, going into it, Dortmund, you're thinking, okay, you're in control now, just don't mess this up. But Atletico Madrid, 3 changes at Madrid managed to get the goal, was with a really bizarre own goal. And then, in, I guess, Morata fashion, Angel Correa was his turn to miss a big chance. He ran through 1-on-1, missed, and you're thinking, okay, it's maybe not Atletico Madrid's night in front of the goal. Are they going to be made to rue these missed opportunities? To be fair to Correa, though, he did exceptional for his goal, and Atletico Madrid somehow turned it all the way to 2-2. And at this point, I'm like, wow, Dortmund have bottled it again, you know. They have a history of bottling stuff like this, they've done it again. But my problem really was, it was all Dortmund's fault, because the thing is, I actually think both of these teams played their best football in this game when they actually went for it and attacked. When both these teams just sat back, they struggled. Atletico Madrid, first half, they sat back, defended, tried to counter. They were rubbish. In the second half, made changes, they went for it a bit more. That's when they played their best football. At Dortmund, that's when they played their worst, because they had a lead and they decided, okay, we're just going to sit back a little bit more now and defend, and they couldn't do it and they looked really poor. But then after Madrid made it 2-2, it reversed again. Atletico Madrid, I was really disappointed in Simeone there. He's then reverted back to type and sat back, allowed Dortmund really to get back into the game. At that point, I really didn't think Dortmund were going to get back in the game, but him sitting back allowed Dortmund to get back into the game. Dortmund started to control the game a little bit more, get some more chances going. Front men started looking a lot better again. And Nicholas Füllkrug, who was really ineffective in the first half, suddenly came to life and pulled off a fantastic header, absolutely brilliant header. And it was coming. And then Sabitzer with a fantastic goal just 3 minutes later to completely turn it around for Dortmund. And yeah, that is completely Atletico Madrid's fault in my opinion for going back, sitting back, allowing Dortmund to get back into that game. And Dortmund in the end held on. Atletico Madrid after that, you know, really the life was sucked out of them and they couldn't come back from it. But in terms of individual performances, I thought the whole front line from Dortmund was excellent. Sabitzer, amazing. Brandt, amazing. Sancho actually had a pretty good game. Füllkrug, fantastic after his goal. He really grew in confidence, was getting aerial dominance and doing fantastic. Running in behind, Dortmund had a couple good opportunities. He had a 1v1 versus All Black, where, I mean, he can't really do too much. It was just a fantastic save by All Black, who had a bit of a mixed game, to be honest. Made a couple of the goals he could have done better, but he also made some big saves for them to keep them in the game. But yeah, I thought Dortmund were fantastic. Fully deserved the victory. Atletico Madrid, so disappointing. Griezmann was really, really anonymous, to be honest. He didn't really get into the game at all. Morata has blood in his hands for that first chance, could have changed the game. Overall, their front men were quite ineffective, but I think Simeone's tactics let him down. He bottled it. He reverted back to type, and you know, when they had the lead, he sat back, didn't want to go for it, even though when they went for it, Dortmund couldn't cope. And yeah, I think that was ultimately the error that cost them, and Dortmund are now in the semis. Atletico Madrid are out. And yeah, disappointing for Atletico, but fantastic for Dortmund, and yeah, I'll be rooting for them as a little underdog. Okay, let's move on. Barcelona 1, PSG 4. Goes from Rafinha, Ousmane Dembele, Vitinha, 2 from Mbappe, and Ronaldo Araujo red card. Now this was a pretty crazy game as well. 5 goals in this game, and it had drama right away. So Barcelona started off pretty well. They started off pretty decent. I mean, PSG had chances as well. It was a very open game to begin with, but then Lamine Yamal. I mean, the first leg he was okay, but he wasn't amazing. And then passing off Rafinha 1-0 Barca. Barca now have a 2-goal lead, and you think, okay, Barca, 2-goal lead. They were the better team in the first leg. They're looking good here. They should be good. And then Araujo. I said Morata might have blood in his hands. Araujo definitely has blood in his hands. Definitely has blood in his hands. Probably 90% of the blame for Barcelona going out is on Araujo. Because firstly, he's the one who gives the ball away in the first place to PSG. Barcola then runs through in on goal, and then he's the one who hacks him down, gets a red card, and that's in the 29th minute, and the game completely changes. With 11 men, I'm 70% sure Barcelona go through. Barcelona with 11 men had a 2-goal lead, and even though PSG looked dangerous, with 11 men I don't see PSG turning it around that much, to be honest. I think Barca go through. But that 10 men just completely changes. It's a stupid, idiotic mistake by him. There's no need to take him down there. Of course he's going one-on-one, and it's maybe a sort of instinctual reaction in terms of, I need to take him down quick, tactical foul. But if he just took a split second to think, okay, we're 2-0 up in this tie, even if this guy goes in and he scores, we're still leading the tie. And also, it's Barcola who was great, by the way, but it's not like it's Mbappe where, okay, it's a guaranteed goal, he's going to score. But Barcola isn't some lethal finisher. He might miss to stake and might save it anyway. So it's not even like a guaranteed goal. So it was just a stupid mistake by Ronaldo Araujo, and it's very disappointing because he was one of their best players in the first leg. He was great up against Mbappe and started off this game pretty good. Mbappe didn't really have too much of a sniff up until that point, and yeah, that just completely changed it. But yeah, after that, obviously PSG started to get the initiative, but for me it was a bit weird. Obviously they had to make a change at the back due to this, but he took off Lamine Yamal for Nico Martinez, which I was really shocked about. Now I understand it. You're gonna have to sacrifice one of the front men most likely. But Rafinha is better defensively. That's what I was trying to say. Rafinha is much more of a hard worker and better defensively than Yamal, so I understand it. But for me, I would have taken off Lewandowski. I understand as well you want Lewandowski as a focal point, but I would have took off one of these two because, or even taken off like a Joao Cancelo or someone else, because the thing is, when you're playing with 10 men, you sit back and you counter. And to do that, you need fast players. You need players who can dribble the ball, who can carry the ball and get you up the pitch. Yamal is by far the best in this Barca team at getting the ball and dribbling with it and carrying the ball up the pitch. So without him on the pitch, they couldn't do that. They couldn't do it. And they couldn't really get out and up that pitch really and first half and in the second half, and then got his goal. His goal was a superb goal as well, but defensively poor from Barca. I think it was Lewandowski. No one really went out to him. Lewandowski was the one to him, but he was kind of jogging there, never really fully committed defensively to him. And with 10 men, here's the thing, we've seen teams with 10 men grind out a result when they have a lead. You know, I'm thinking like Inter versus Barca, like 2010, stuff like that. But you need character, you need grit, you need determination, you need everyone to buy in. What you don't need is players like that who are jogging, who are not really giving it all like that and getting stuck in like that and defending for their lives. And you can see with this Barca team, they weren't really doing that, mainly because they're a young team, but I think they also lack a bit of character, a bit of steel like that. And yeah, Vitinha then makes it 2-1. And then from this point, Barca lose their heads. Barca completely lost their heads. This is what I was saying about the character of Barca and their young nature. Cancelo with a dumb, stupid challenge on Dembele. It's a pen. It's definitely a pen. I thought the ref, all his decisions were perfect. I thought it was a red. It was a pen. And Mbappe scores a great pen. And yeah, PSG turned around. Barcelona absolutely crumbled from this point. Xavi got sent off. Even a manager, losing his head, that doesn't help the players at all. He was like kicked one of the things on the sideline. That's not going to help your team. It's sort of, that energy will translate onto the players, and that's exactly what happened, especially when you have a young team like that. And in the end, Mbappe wrapped up in the 89th minute with a fourth. To be fair, in between that, when PSG were 3-1 up, Barca did have a couple of chances, like Gundogan came close, and the one thing I would say about PSG, kind of similar to Dortmund, where they allowed Barca to get in the game a bit. I thought they really should have pushed for that fourth goal earlier than they did. They never really, they started to sit back a little bit, take their foot off the gas, let Barca get into the game a bit. When you're coming up against 10 men and you have a slender 1-goal lead, you gotta go for it. You gotta get a second just to kill off the tie. They did eventually, but if Gundogan's chance goes in, suddenly that's a different game. But give credit to PSG. In previous years, that is something which PSG, a goal down or 2 goals down in the tie, 10 men they're facing. That's something where PSG's character, they don't get it over the line. Over the years we've seen so many times in these situations, these adverse situations, them fail. But they did find a way this time. Credit to Enrique for that, and credit to the PSG side who, although they have flaws, very obvious flaws, they also have a lot of talent and look really good. And in the end, got the victory, a 4-1 victory. On paper, I mean, it kind of flatters them, but it's another sort of kind of embarrassing night for Barca in terms of the way that happened versus PSG. Losing at home 4-1 is never good, but it's understandable considering they have 10 men and they are a young squad. But yeah, PSG through to the semi-finals to face Dortmund, which is going to be interesting as those two faced each other in the group stages. Well. Guys, we're gonna have a cookout. We're gonna have a good time here. We are gonna have a nice time here. So, those were my thoughts on the Tuesday games. The Wednesday games have literally just finished, and I've got a lot to say. Let's just say, as a Chelsea fan, I know a lot of other Chelsea fans, probably a lot of Spurs fans, probably a lot of Man United fans, probably even some Liverpool fans. Oh, today is a good day. So, it's ended. Arsenal shameless. I am. I'll get into an actual analysis of it, you know. But just give me a minute. Just give me a minute to be a bit shameless here, because there's a key theme. There's a key theme of these Wednesday games, and that is something called football heritage. Shout out Mourinho. Football heritage experience. That is something you cannot buy. That is something ingrained into players, ingrained into a club. Bayern Munich and Real Madrid have that in abundance. And to be fair, I mean, Man City, I'll give them a little bit of a pass on this one, because, you know, they did beat Madrid last year. However, Arsenal. The funny thing is, you can argue that Arsenal and Man City, over the two legs, were the better side. They probably were. But what's the thing that made them not be able to win? Football heritage, the Champions League heritage. Bayern and Madrid just have that aura. They just have that something. They just have that know-how in Europe. They are never flustered. They are never ever flustered by a bad situation. Again, I'll give City a little bit of a pass, because I mean, Madrid were a bit flustered last year, but let's forget about it. Arsenal, what have you done in Europe? Bayern Munich have won multiple Champions Leagues. Man City, sure, you won the Champions League last year, but this is Real Madrid. When it comes to crunch time, the most pressurised moments, penalties, that heritage, that aura of Real Madrid, that composure comes into play. And also, before I get into a proper analysis and my thoughts on the games, any Premier League fans, now I'm a Premier League fan, of course, but as you can probably tell from a lot of my videos, I respect a lot of the leagues. I've never come on this channel and be like, oh, the Premier League is the best league in the world, this is the Farmers League, that, whatever. If you are a Premier League fan, right now, no Premier League fan can ever, or at least for this season, I don't want to hear a Premier League fan say Liga or the Bundesliga is a Farmers League, because it's not looking good. Both English clubs out in the quarterfinals. There is 0 English clubs in the semi-finals of the Champions League. 2 English clubs finish bottom of their Champions League groups. Not to mention the Europa League, where I'm recording this before, but most likely West Ham are going to be knocked out. Again, most likely Liverpool are going to be knocked out. So it means most likely there's also going to be 0 English clubs in the Europa League Final Four. Not to mention the Conference League. Again, I'm recording this before. There is a chance for Aston Villa might get knocked out. So there is a very real possibility that all 3 European competitions have 0 English clubs in the Final Four. And yet some English fans, Premier League fans, will be like, the Premier League is the best league in the world by far. Liga and you're a Farmers League, Bundesliga, you're a Farmers League. Well, turns out that Bundesliga have 2 in the Champions League semi-finals, and it's very likely we're going to have 1 in the final, maybe even an all-German final. And Liga can also have a representative in the Final Four. Not to mention in Europa League, again, the favourite most likely for the competition is from Bundesliga. So yeah. Also, not to mention that Man City are most likely going to do 4 in a row in the Premier League. But yeah, that's just a side note. that's the shamelessness out the way off for now. Let me actually go into the games then. And I also wanted to say, just to big up myself a little bit, as we mentioned, I predicted Dortmund would go through. Correct. I predicted PSG would go through. Correct. I predicted that Bayern would win on pens. I was correct. Bayern did win, not on pens. And I said Real Madrid would win. I was correct, so I actually predicted all 4 quarterfinals ties right. For once, I actually got my predictions right. There's some monumental achievement by me. Crazy. I don't know how I've done it. You guys know I'm awful with predictions, but I've somehow pulled this out the bag. Anyway, Bayern 1, Arsenal 0. Bayern 1, Arsenal 0. Right. Now, I'm gonna say this. I am like being completely serious here. I'm telling the truth here. Once Bayern scored, I said the game was 100% done and Arsenal were not going to go through. I'm not lying. I said the game was done. I knew the game was over. The reason for this is because the first half was very cagey. It was a very even game. Both teams never really fully committed to going for it. No, it had moments, Bayern had moments where they controlled the game. Then Arsenal did. And when both of those sides were attacking, you could see both defences were really, really good, and both attacks didn't really have that creativity to break them down. I do think Bayern had the better chances, but you could see, both were defensively solid, and it was going to take something very good to break them down. And whoever took the lead, in my opinion, if Arsenal scored that first goal, I think Arsenal actually win this game. Because whoever took the lead, in my opinion, was going to win, because I just thought both sides were so good defensively when they shut up shop that the other side wasn't going to score. So that's why when Kimmich scored a fantastic goal, I was like, the game's done, because I knew Bayern were going to sit back, and from what I've seen, when they do that, Arsenal didn't have the answers. Arsenal were not going to break them down, and Bayern were very, very good defensively, and that's exactly what happened. Arsenal had pretty much zero chances after that goal, which is very disappointing if you're an Arsenal fan, to go out like that, to go out on such a whimper. Like, they obviously were trying, but it wasn't really like, they peppered the goal and were like putting up a massive fight. Like, to go out like that is just disappointing if you're an Arsenal fan. I did think, I was a bit baffled by the lineup from Arteta to bring Tomiyasu in at left back. I thought it was a bit weird, not playing Kivior, or, Kivior has been fantastic at left back, and I thought he was rested in the Villa game for this game, but he wasn't. He chucked Tomiyasu in, and a couple moments in that first half where Sonny was cooking him. Martinelli had some good moments, but then Martinelli, he's at fault for that goal. Completely switches off. Really, really poor defending from him, because Kimmich, who was fantastic from right back, by the way, fantastic, he is so stupid, because he literally, Martinelli is running with Kimmich and then stops for some reason. I don't know what he's doing, but yeah, big goal. And there wasn't really too much to say in this. I mean, Bayern had some good chances, like Goretzka had a fantastic header, Musiala had some, typical Musiala moments where just gliding through the midfield with ease. None of the front guys from Arsenal really did too much. We had a couple moments, but as I said, Arsenal just couldn't get through the Bayern defence. We had no creativity. As I said, though, Bayern never really had too much of themselves either. The game was very even. The first goal was crucial. Bayern got it, and they shut up shop. Now, as for Arsenal, well. You've been hit with what I like to call Hell Week. Liverpool got hit with it last week, and you've been hit with it the same week. Their season is done, in my opinion, in just 1 week. Liverpool had it with the Europa League and the Premier League as well, and Arsenal have also had it. So yeah, very, very disappointing if you're an Arsenal fan. Very, very disappointing. But look, European competitions are not for everyone. What I will say though about Bayern is great determination. They got it done. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic defensively from them. Not too many teams shut off Arsenal like this, but they were so solid at the back. Neuer made some good saves when he had to, and Bayern are clearly not the best team in Europe. Then probably not even top 3, not even top 5. But at the end of the day, in knockout football, it's not about who's the best team in the world. It's about who's the most effective team in the world and who can get the results. And Bayern have done that in this tie, and there's no reason why they can't go all the way. They're an effective side. They can play the dirty game. They have the individual quality to grab goals when they need to, and they have shown defensive nous. So there's no reason Bayern can't go all the way, and full credit to them. Now Manchester City. Real Madrid ended 1-1 De Bruyne and Rodrigo with a penalty win, 4-3 on penalties from Real Madrid. Now, kind of similar to the last one. Again, I'm not just saying this because it happened. I generally did think this. So, I said, when it got to half time and Real Madrid won 1-0 up, I said Real Madrid, they have to score another if they're going to win this. I said there was no chance in hell Real Madrid escaped with a 1-0. Man City were going to score. They did. And then when it went to extra time, and the way Man City started extra time, I said Man City have to win this in extra time. If it goes to pens, Man City have lost. Man City did not win it in extra time, and when it went to pens, I knew Real Madrid were winning. One, because of a thing I said about football heritage, that composure in those big moments. But two, because of this man, Andre Lunin. Massive props to him. He is kind of, I don't know what's going on here, I accidentally clicked on his profile, I think, sorry, that's a bit bright. Anyway, Andre Lunin is a penalty saving expert. He has a fantastic record from penalty savings. I knew this before going in. Lunin was fantastic. Ironically, they actually have 2 goalkeepers who are good at saving pens. Kepa on the bench as well. And in the end, it went to pens. I knew Lunin, even when Modric missed his pen, I still had faith because I knew Lunin was so good at saving pens, and he did that. And Madrid won. And not only in the penalty shootout was he fantastic, but we need to give massive credit to Lunin because throughout the whole game it was great. Man City were trying to exploit him. Man City highlighted him as a weak point. You saw from the corner, every single corner was looped in on Lunin's head, and he dealt with all of them. Maybe not the most convincing fashion, but he dealt with them. And every shot he faced, every time he had to make a save, he made a save. Couldn't do anything about the goal. He made tons of saves. Man of match in my opinion. Man of a match. Absolute well done to him. He was actually 3rd choice keeper this season. And now look at him. Absolutely fantastic and well done to him. Fantastic from him. Anyway, as for the game. So, I was a bit surprised that Man City started off quite timidly in the first 12 minutes or so. I was expecting Man City to kind of do what they did last year, where they just full press blitz Real Madrid. But they didn't. They were going for a bit of a mid-block, letting Real Madrid have it in the first phase. And I was a bit shocked by that, because it allowed Madrid to start build up, and then Jude Bellingham, look, here's the thing, I said it about Mbappe, with players like this, Mbappe, Bellingham, they're not going to go anonymous for 180 minutes, they're just not. They're good enough to have a moment. Bellingham did nothing in the first leg, but I knew in the second leg he was going to do something, and he did. That was exquisite by him for that goal, and then Rodrigo tucks it in. Rodrigo absolutely loves scoring against Man City for some reason. And Madrid go 1-0 up. And then, obviously, Man City started growing into the game. Kevin De Bruyne, I said Lunin was man of the match. He was probably second man of the match. De Bruyne was fantastic. He didn't deserve to lose that game. He was causing Madrid all sorts of problems down the right channel, really getting in behind, getting those crosses in, getting those shots away. And it was only a matter of time before he was going to score, and he did eventually score. Rudiger made a fantastic block as well in the first half. He was a monster at the back, absolute monster. And in the first half, Jack Grealish did pretty well. Grealish had some good moments. Him and Carvajal, as they always do, have a great battle. But in the second half, Grealish did start to tire, and then, City overall. First half, Foden also wasn't really too much in the game, as was Bernardo as well. But then Grealish came off, Doku came on. Doku stretched for play, occupied Carvajal, and Foden and Bernardo suddenly were back in the game. And Doku made such a big impact. But what I will say, massive shout out to Carvajal, massive shout out, because this guy had to go up 1v1 versus Grealish. He was on a yellow card the whole time, and then he just comes up whilst he's tired. He's like 32 against Jeremy Doku, and even though he got cooked a couple of times, Carvajal held his own, and what a monster he is. I also thought Toni Kroos was really good in the first half, did tire out in the second, and understandably Luka Modric came on for him. Valverde also was very good. Bellingham was fantastic in terms of holding that ball up and trying to progress from midfield into attack. But really from the second half to penalties, Man City were dominating. Real Madrid were sat in their half, as you can see, at 36% possession, 34 shots by Man City. And Man City just couldn't really properly break them down. I mean, Real Madrid, for a large portion of the second half, defended really well. Then Doku came on, and then, chances started to appear. But I did think Madrid were a little bit too defensive, in my opinion, a little bit too defensive. I thought they were going to go for it a little bit more than they did. But they did defend really well. Nacho, fantastic by him. And then we go into extra time, and interestingly, a certain Erling Haaland was taken off. And Pep's decisions also in extra time also contributed to me knowing that Real Madrid were going to win, because he took off Haaland, who is their designated penalty taker, and he also took off De Bruyne, who I guess is their second penalty taker as well. Now, of course, I mean, he brought on Alvarez, and that who was fun, is a great penalty taker as well, but that signaled to me, okay, Pep wants to get this done in normal time. He doesn't want to get this, he doesn't care about pens, he's going to get in extra time, and if they don't get it done in extra time, then they're not winning, and that's what happened. But it was understandable that he took off Haaland. I did think Haaland had a better game in this game than in the first leg. But again, look, about 180 minutes up against Rudiger and Nacho, he didn't really do anything over the two legs. So it was obvious they were going to try something new with Alvarez, and to be fair, they looked pretty good with Alvarez on. And yeah, in the end, Madrid won on pens. And this is why it's even more sweeter as a Chelsea fan. My boy, Antonio Rude. Oh man, I love this guy. Used to love him at Chelsea. Won the Champions League with us at Chelsea. First Man City in the final. He injured De Bruyne in the final, and he's knocked out De Bruyne in the penalty shootout. He's beat Man City in the final with Chelsea, and he's beaten them now with the winning pen, which is a fantastic pen, by the way. I love it. Also, shout out to Edison, to be fair, because that takes balls. To take a pen, and he took it really well. So fair play to him. And you can't really blame Edison, because he actually made a save in this as well. Bernardo's pen was really poor, but again, massive shout out to Lunin, because that is brave. Most keepers do not that's a little bit of a spanner in the work in the title race, I guess, in terms of, is this going to derail Man City's season, or is it? That's why I said earlier, maybe Liverpool fans aren't too happy because this is probably means that Man City, okay, we're just going to focus on the Premier League now. But yeah, we will have a new champion. We will have a new champion. City are not going back to back. Those who thought they were going to do it. I mean, it's pretty fitting that the team to stop it is Real Madrid, because really the only team who can ever do back to back is Real Madrid. It's not that easy to do back to back, and yeah, we now have. Okay, it's not going to come up here, but I think the bracket, yeah, I can get the bracket up. Our semi-finals are made. Our semi-finals are made. We have, okay, oh god. Okay, so I'll just say it. There we go. So our semi-finals are Dortmund versus Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. I think this is really cool because you have one side of the draw, which is the Champions League, the football heritage, for so many Champions League wins amongst these two, and that's a blockbuster time. And then across the other side, you have the more two teams who necessarily don't have the history. I mean, Dortmund do, but not recent history. So yeah, we have two polar opposites. We've got a nice mix. I'm looking forward to it. But in the end, these quarterfinals, all 4 games, throw up some crazy storylines, some crazy action, goals, drama. This was the best quarterfinals I've seen in a very long time. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the quarterfinals as much as I did. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like. Consider subscribing, and I'll see